Hello everyone, thank you for joining us on this edition of the Primetime Newscast on Equinoxe Television, live from our headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. My name is Babla Jonathan. In our top stories in this edition of the news, several persons have been deprived of their source of livelihood by a fire incident in the town of Bamenda, northwest region of the Republic of Cameroon. The flames consumed several shops yesterday in the Equinoxe neighborhood. We'll be giving you details in this edition of the news on Equinoxe Television. And out of Cameroon, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson signs the post-Brexit deal with the European Union, and of course this is progressively leading to the final divorce between the United Kingdom and the European Union. Goods worth millions of francs CFA have been consumed by wild flames in Equinoxe, in the town of Bamenda, northwest region of the Republic of Cameroon. The fire incident has deprived several persons of their source of livelihood. Smanjikan Gabriel has more.
It was an unusual night at the Maltunkwen neighborhood, precisely opposite Banja Street in Bamenda. A house used by a welder as a shop was attacked by inferno in the late hours of Tuesday evening. According to an eyewitness, we just saw smoke in the air, and that is how we picked our bucket to put off the flames. Upon arriving there, we saw that it was more than us. That was where we called 118, and they came and put off the flames.
If the fire because we should have stopped, the only place will never know what's happen. That means why we don't thank God that you don't save our life.
The population who came out to put out the flames did a lot before the army rescue team arrived the spot.
If you rightly see some stockage for tire,
there were tires inside the room, which provoked the fire inside the house. Thank God we arrived on time to stop the flames, without which it would have attacked a pharmacy behind it.
Stop the fire from going to the pharmacy because the intensity of the fire may be too high. But if we not really come immediately, maybe for Bonda Pharmacy and the other houses and they behind.
In the early hours of Wednesday, Equinoxe television crew descended to the scene of the incident, and on the site, the material damages were enormous. In Douala, it was a man in his late 40s who was arrested by the elements of the judicial police station accused of kidnapping and asking for ransom. It's a phenomenon of kidnapping and asking for ransom. After we were informed, we opened an investigation that led us to capture the alleged kidnapper.
Après une enquête qui nous a été écoutée par notre hiérarchie pour traquer cet ravisseur.
The man accused of kidnapping refutes the allegation.
Small boy
He was missing when I found him. After attempts at getting to his place failed, days later he gave me the contact of a family member and I tried to reach them. But unfortunately, because I was sick, I couldn't take him there.
Number for one of their family.
According to this family member, the man accused of kidnapping asked them for the sum of 25,000 francs CFA because the child spoiled his fun. After that day, they never heard from him again until they had to report to the police before the investigation that led to his arrest.
Goods and equipments worth millions of francs CFA reduced into ashes in a welding workshop in the town of Bamenda, notably in the Equinoxe neighborhood, and this comes to further complicate the already difficult living situation of the people, notably with regards to the prevailing socio-political and security tense situation in the northwest and southwest regions of the country that has rendered several persons that has brought several persons in very difficult living conditions. And now to the southwest region of the country, Derejata reports that the crisis has seriously affected developmental efforts, and the Southwest Development Association is now stepping up efforts to ensure that the people can pick up from the crumbs, so to speak. Derejata.
The Southwest Development Authority Soweto Board of Directors, now 18 months in office, said their objective of revitalizing Soweto has been realized.
Reviewing the organigram to make it to align with the laws that exist, and the laws that exist in 2017 law on the functioning of public establishments. We had to do that to review the organigram. That has been done. We had to review the internal rules and regulations of Soweto. That also has been done. Thirdly, we came up with a strategy paper, for activities of Soweto for the next 10 years. That also has been done.
With the ground now leveled, the Board of Directors met in Boya for the 43rd Ordinary Session with focus on the Soweto Action Plan and the budget for 2021 financial year, and with 3.8 billion adopted as the 2021 budget for Soweto. Soweto Board Chair Apande Ejiage Herbert highlighted some of the priority projects for 2021.
And there are lots of things to do. We look at the roads of our region, for example. We need an in-depth study, of what is happening, what kind of roads we have, what can we do to ameliorate those roads.
And the new dispensation is a plus for better growth.
The 31 councils in the Southwest are now going to be given a lot of money to do the roads and all of that. So we intend to, contact these councils, enter into contact with them, and use our equipment to do, maintenance in the roads.
The Southwest Development Authority Soweto has as objective to improve on the environment and the living standard of the rural population in the region.
60% of women who battle with diverse agricultural challenges in the Figil in the north region of the Republic of Cameroon to cater for their families have been assured better tomorrow. Have been assured that tomorrow is going to be better, and this assurance is coming from the European Union, which is bringing to the women some aid to help them to survive. Innocent. With that report on aid from the European Union, aid to women in Figil, in the north region of the Republic of Cameroon. The women are facing several challenges, notably in the agricultural activities, challenges that adversely affect yields and income from the agricultural activities. And some officials of the European Union have now reassured them that with the aid coming from the organization, they will be able to take a step higher and earn more from the activities. Innocent.
Figil, a community found in the Mayo Loti division of the North region, stricken by hardship coupled with joblessness. The female population here is more active in agriculture and petty trades to put food on the table.
Justement, parce qu'à Figil, les hommes ne s'occupent pas bien de leur famille en fait. Plusieurs hommes n'ont pas ce temps-là.
Men do not have time, and the women need to see their children grow healthy and have a better future.
Pour rencontrer plus de femmes.
Les hommes aussi se battent.
Men strive to provide also. It is only because they lack the means.
Les hommes aussi ne prennent pas soin de la famille.
providing for their families is not all that rosy. Low rainfall has an adverse consequence on agriculture. Their farm outputs are bought at discouraging costs. Preserved cement for artificial insemination gets bad because of no animals.
On a raté notre projet de cette année.
To improve on their efforts by boosting their productivity in order to have enough to sustain their livelihood, the European Union puts at their disposal a program it has funded that will permit exchange between sectors and the women, as well as young people, including presentation of economic opportunities within their municipality.
Il est question dans ce forum de présenter aux jeunes et aux femmes les opportunités d'affaires.
There is need to enable them become economically independent through nurturing of their vision and determination encouragement.
Autour de vous, il y a des opportunités que vous pouvez saisir. Il suffit d'ouvrir les yeux, il suffit d'avoir la volonté, il suffit d'identifier la structure là.
Meantime, 250 out of 600 registered women and young persons for this program were selected after an individual and oral interview.
Je remercie l'Union européenne d'avoir venu nous appuyer.
Thanks to the European Union for this timely assistance, because more and more youths are jobless and idle.
Et comme ça, ça va réduire le taux de chômage.
60% of women are benefiting from this European Union funded project.
Au début, quand on parlait de ce projet, on pensait que c'était une blague. Beaucoup de personnes ont négligé ce projet-là.
At first, when the project was talked about, we thought it was a joke, but we have come to realize it is a great one that will empower women. This action comes as support to the government's endeavor and commitment to eradicate poverty and unemployment in Cameroon.
In the east region of the country, Charles Ekome tells us how farmers have been able to overcome the different challenges related to security and health crisis affecting the country to make good use in the course of this year. His report.
Despite the hardship and the problems faced by actors in the agricultural sector in Cameroon due to a couple of reasons such as the COVID-19 pandemic and the Anglophone crisis, which has hampered the growth and productivity rate of this sector in 2020, the population of the east region of Cameroon, however, have recorded a fruitful harvest, which was supervised by the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Gabriel Bayrobe.
De la diversité des productions ici à l'est.
There is diversity of production in the agricultural sector here in the East region. The principal foods consumed here are cassava, cocoyams and plantains. I also witnessed the production of maize, soja, beans and so many fruits as well. When it comes to animal farming, there are a lot of chickens and sheep in the region.
Admirer la grosseur des poulets.
A fruitful harvest, which also had its shortcomings and challenges, as these agriculturals voice out their problems. We also face financial problems. We have to travel to Bafoussam most at times to buy the right strains and grains to cultivate here in the East region, and we also need enough engine power for the cultivation of these products in these vast bushes. In the sector of banana and plantains, we face serious transportation problems, and most at times we don't have enough plantains and banana suckers. The visit of the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development in Betwa, capital of the East region of Cameroon, enabled farmers and agriculturals to present their products as well as their problems, like this other agricultural who has revolutionized his farming technique, which produces 2 to 3 bunches of plantains and bananas from one sucker. He demands aid from the government to maximize productivity.
Vous avez 1 hectare avec la variété produit max. Vous récoltez plus que celui qui a fait 2 hectares.
With just 1 hectare of land, you can produce more plantains and bananas than the person with 2 hectares of land. In due time, you will have the possibility of multiplying your plantation.
Et donc, dans un bref délai, vous avez la possibilité de multiplier.
Charles Ekome reporting there. The President of the Republic of Cameroon, Paul Biya, has harmonized retirement ages of civil servants at 60 for category A and B and 55 for category C and D state employees, and this is contained in a presidential decree signed today. It will go or come into effect as from January 1, 2021. Coming up next, Immaculate Fogwe takes us down memory lane into all what happened in the health domain in the course of the year in 2020. She focuses notably on the major health challenge that not only the country but the entire world has faced, the COVID-19, and how the Cameroon government is fighting the pandemic.
The Cameroonian government has been criticized for not taking radical measures against COVID-19 like many other African countries, as it went ahead to maintain trade links with countries like France and China, who were badly hit by the virus. Cameroon closed its air, land and sea borders until March 18th, that is 12 days after the first imported case from France and weeks after many countries had limited the number of people in gatherings to 50. Restrictive measures such as social distancing, closure of all educational facilities, restaurants and other entertainment spots systematically closed from 6 p.m. and the compulsory wearing of face masks. In less than 4 months, the number of cases rose to 6,500 in June and 200 deaths recorded. The economic impact of these measures pushed the government to ease restrictive measures on bars, restaurants and other entertainment centers on the 30th of April. The government later created COVID-19 centers, with many of them inoperational. Civil health personnel were infected by the virus due to limited health equipment. The government later called for public solidarity so as to better fight against the virus, a situation that saw hundreds of Cameroonians and international organizations offering aid. A similar exercise was launched by the president of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement political party, Professor Maurice Kamto, with a solidarity fund called Suivi Cameroon, an initiative which was not accepted by the BS regime. During this period, many Cameroonians were sacked due to their company's incapability to continue paying their monthly salaries. The Archbishop of the Douala Metropolitan Archdiocese, His Grace Samuel Kleda, later came up with a herbal treatment known as Elexi-COVID and Adza-COVID, which was able to treat thousands of Cameroonians. The treatment was later supported by the Cameroonian government. Within 10 months of being hit by the virus, the Social Democratic Front Member of Parliament, Honorable Jean-Michel Nincher, indicated that funds allocated for the fight against the coronavirus is being mismanaged. According to him, conflicts of interest within the Ministry of Health is responsible for it. Cameroon has so far registered a total of 26,277 cases and 448 deaths.
And a new vaccine against the coronavirus has been approved in the United Kingdom. The United Kingdom drug regulator approved the AstraZeneca Oxford jab to be used for prevention and treatment of coronavirus. And now for greater details, here's an extract of Martin Mackey. He is a professor of European Public Health in the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine. Take a listen.
Much so, because clearly the logistics of moving things around at -70 are very considerable. This can be stored in a standard vaccine fridge between 2 and 8 degrees centigrade, and that makes it much more easy to transport, to store, and therefore to administer, particularly given the logistics of getting everybody together, all the people who are ready to be vaccinated together in the right place. It will make it much simpler. There's a number of reasons, but also I understand, and I think we need to check this with the EMA, according to the Financial Times, the Oxford AstraZeneca team have not yet submitted the papers to the EMA. So that's one, obviously they can't do anything until they have all the details. But also it is true that there is a consensus building process so that the representatives of each of the member states do need to contribute. But I wouldn't worry too much about that. I mean, obviously we want to get this out as quickly as possible. But I think that the EMA is ensuring that they do need to review all of the data. They need to be absolutely confident about it. It is true that the MHRA has gone quicker. I don't think there's any evidence of any cutting of corners at all. But I think the main reason is, as far as I understand it, that the data have not yet been submitted. We now have a new variant of the virus circulating in the UK, and this is a complete game changer. It is significantly more transmissible than the variant that we've had up until now. The tier system in the United Kingdom is not keeping it in check, and this means that we need to get as many people vaccinated as possible. We also, in parallel with that, need to do everything possible to drive down levels of transmission with the virus anyway, because obviously we're just giving it opportunities to spread further beyond the UK if we don't do that. But I think given the urgency of the situation with the new variant, it's very important to get as many people, at least to get the first dose, which is the way that the Joint Committee on Vaccination and Immunisation in the UK is going. They're arguing that we can now delay the second dose for up to 12 weeks. The priority is to get some protection as quickly as possible, and I'm sure that's the right one.
British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has signed the post-Brexit trade deal with the European Union, adding his signature to that of European Union chief after the document was flown from Brussels to London. The trade deal was announced December 24. It sets out the terms of Britain's new relationship with the European Union following their divorce earlier this year. It will come into effect from January 1, replacing transitional arrangements during which EU rules continue to apply to Britain. Coming up next, Talking Point. Dr. Ivor Dita, Associate Professor of Medicine at the University of Minnesota Medical School, is joining us from the United States of America. Thank you for joining us today, Doctor. Dr. Ivor Dita, I said earlier, is a Professor of Medicine at the University of Minnesota Medical School in the United States of America. Doctor, you're welcome. Having some issues there with Dr. Ivor Dita, who is joining us from the United States of America. And with him, we're going to be talking about the situation of coronavirus, the pandemic in the world, in the United States as well as in Europe. The figures are still rising, while the vaccine is already being rolled out in several European and other European countries and other parts of the world, as well as in America. The vaccine, the Pfizer vaccine, is already being administered, and in the United Kingdom, a new vaccine has been approved by the UK regulatory authority, and of course the vaccine will be administered against coronavirus in the United Kingdom, and the AstraZeneca Oxford jab has been approved by the UK drug regulator, as well as the other vaccines that will be administered. Some African countries are already looking forward to receiving the vaccine, receiving a good quantity of the vaccine that will be administered to the population. But there are issues of availability, issues of affordability, issues of storage facilities as far as the anti-coronavirus vaccine is concerned. Dr. Ivor Dita, if you are getting me, you're welcome on board.
It's my
Unfortunately, we're having some connection issues there with the sound quality, and Dr. Ivor Tita, unfortunately, will be coming back to this in subsequent news editions. Thank you for staying with us. Goodbye.